Hello everyone, welcome back to In Bed with a Nerd. Today I'm going to be talking about BRICS. Now, if you've been reading any of the international relations type stuff, BRICS doesn't mean what you build your house with. BRICS actually refers to a group of nations that have formed a partnership, and together they're working towards establishing a new bank. Now, BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So these 5 countries have gotten together and have decided to pool their resources and create a slush fund. It's a pool of money that they're going to use to start this bank, and that money is going to be made available to developing nations to build infrastructure and essentially make themselves better able to enter and compete into international markets. Now, why this is significant is because at the moment, the 2 major players in lending capital to developing countries is the IMF and the World Bank. Now, these 2 banks are strongly supported by the West, as in, Western Europe, the European Union, and the good old US of A, and of course the UK. Now, we all know that these are the powers that be, and BRICS essentially are going to be the powers that will be. China and India are 2 very, very powerful up-and-coming economies. Obviously, China's already the world's 2nd largest economy, and by moving ahead and actually creating this pool of capital that they're going to be able to use to lend to different countries to develop their economies, it's going to be a little bit of a conflict of interest, I guess you could say, with the IMF and the World Bank, which could potentially lead to some very serious world problems. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the world in the next 2 to 3 years as this bank gets off the ground, because the IMF and the World Bank are going to lose their stranglehold on dictating the terms of which they lend capital to developing countries. Now, as other countries look away from the traditional powers that be in the West to the new BRICS, cooperative, it's not going to be like a Cold War necessarily, but there's definitely going to be a shift of values, let's say, in how countries can go about sponsoring and building up their infrastructure and competitiveness in world markets. So yes, my fellow nerds and international relations type people, this is something that you should definitely be aware of. BRICS is probably something you're going to see in the media a little bit more, so something that's good to know about. And yeah, any of the potential conflict that starts to arise in any of these countries and tensions that you see between Western nations and BRICS nations is most likely going to be related to the fact that their supply of money isn't going to be in US dollars, it's going to be in other currencies, which is going to be a direct competitor to the current paradigm. So yes, very interesting times ahead. Anyways, if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe and share. I hope you have learnt something from it and are all having a good night. Anyways, thanks again for your time. Catch you later.